NASCAR is concerned that there are too many white people working in the racing industry, so they've launched the NASCAR Diversity Internship Program, open to college students who are a sophomore or above with a 3.0 GPA and who are not white. This directly from their website. The NASCAR Diversity Internship Program is a paid internship that seeks diverse undergraduate and graduate college students, code word for less white people, or in this case, no white people, to contribute to the fast-paced NASCAR industry. NDIP provides practical, unique, hands-on experience in a variety of fields vital to the sport and business operations. Program requirements: be a member of one or more of the following races or ethnic minority classifications: Black or African American, American Indian, say, which I thought that was politically incorrect, offensive to them. Aren't they supposed to be called Native Americans now? Whoever wrote this is going to have to be sent to a re-education camp to learn the proper terminology. Or Alaska Native. Let me decipher this cultural Marxism for you. An Eskimo. That means an Eskimo. An Asian, Latino, or Hispanic, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander. Wouldn't it be easier if they just said no whites allowed? Because that's really what they mean. They're especially concerned that there are too many white drivers. So NASCAR and Rev Racing reveal the 2023 Drive for Diversity Driver Development class. But if you're white, you can participate in this class, but only if you're a woman. I guess we shouldn't expect anything less from an organization that apologized for not celebrating LGBTQ people enough. There's plenty more to come in this video, so stay tuned, but just a heads up, the Wanted for President shirt has been updated with the official Donald Trump mugshot, so order yours from markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Matt Walsh tweeted the obvious that someone with standing needs to sue over this. That's the only way it stops. And Stephen Miller, who heads up the America First Legal Foundation, which is suing businesses for their anti-whiteism, responded, "Report unlawful discrimination at 1-877-AFL-5454. And I will be calling them to report Google for their anti-whiteism with their new Black Genius Academy."
The Black Genius Academy is a tech career navigation platform designed specifically for you, the aspiring Black innovator.
Communities like the Black Genius Academy can help create a more inclusive and welcoming environment for Black people in technology.
In order to thrive in this world, period, one must be audacious. One must
apparently violate the Civil Rights Act and discriminate against white people. And of course, they turned off the comments, but not when they first posted it. They were reading the comments, and then people were pointing out how obvious and blatant this anti-whiteism is. And so they did what every channel does to try to silence criticism. They turned it off. Stephen Miller from the America First Legal Foundation is currently suing Progressive Auto Insurance for their patently unlawful anti-whiteism for offering $25,000 grants to Black-owned businesses only. And you probably heard about the white regional manager at Starbucks who won a $25 million judgment because she was fired as a scapegoat after some Black people were arrested for loitering because, well, that's against the law, and they thought they were above the law, so they didn't buy anything when the manager asked them, "Oh, what are you guys doing? Just hanging out here?" And so they were arrested, and then they had to scapegoat her, so thankfully she sued. And thankfully others are following Stephen Miller's lead because a conservative activist named Edward Bloom has a nonprofit organization, and they are suing what's called the Fearless Fund because they only invest in Black businesses. So the liberal media is quite upset about this. The Washington Post is complaining they invest in Black women. A lawsuit claims it's discrimination. That's because it is. Imagine going to get a loan or a round of investments for your business and being denied because you're white. And since the anti-whiteism has gotten so systemic and Stephen Miller is now suing businesses for their discrimination, some brand name conservatives are finally getting brave enough to, well, stand up for white people. Charlie Kirk, of all people, tweeted out, "Whiteness is great. Be proud of who you are." Christopher Rufo, who is Conservative Inc.'s critical race theory expert, who won't use the term anti-whiteism and won't admit that critical race theory is anti-whiteism and that discrimination against Asians is only collateral damage, he counter-signaled Charlie Kirk, saying, "What do you think about this rhetorical move?" and then replied in a bunch of comments, denouncing him. Christopher Rufo, while he does some great work, is firmly opposed to white collectivism or white identity politics or white identity in general, which is the idea of white people basically standing up for themselves as an ethnic group to preserve their values, their culture, and to promote their interests, just like every other ethnic group does and is allowed to do and is celebrated for doing. Charlie Kirk's tweet kicked off quite a frenzy on Twitter, with many conservative pundits denouncing the idea that it's okay to be white, while Jack Posobiec, who has over 2 million Twitter followers, one of the most popular personalities on the platform, said, "White people are the only ones who are supposed to hate their own race in order to be considered good people. Whiteness is the only culture identified by those outside of it and not those who are part of it. And white culture is the only one where hatred of it is considered a virtue." And a few minutes later, he followed that up by saying, "Mark Dice is right about anti-whiteism." Well, thanks for noticing, Jack, and let me know if you want an advanced copy of my new book, which comes out here in a few months. And just a few weeks ago, Matt Walsh picked up a new word in his vocabulary that I may or may not have had something to do with.
They accuse him of racism, but it's their own racism. Their anti-whiteism.
And it looks like I also rubbed off on Carol Swain, who is a retired political science professor at Vanderbilt University, who is also using the proper terminology and is, well, a fan of mine. I'll just leave it at that.
Those people that argue that it's impossible for blacks to be racist against whites, that's ludicrous. The first thing I'd ask, like, what are you smoking? Of course you can be racist. And that would be a form of anti-whiteism. But now the dictionary, actually has a definition for anti-whiteism: prejudice or discriminating against or hostile towards white people.
Well, Carol, that's probably an older dictionary because I'm sure that they've dumped that word down the memory hole in the newer editions. And let's not forget, one of the reasons Tulsi Gabbard left the Democrat Party is because of their anti-whiteism.
Who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism.
Even Anna Kasparian over at the Young Turks, the Young Jerks YouTube channel, the biggest leftist channel on the entire platform, has had enough.
I'm now super hesitant to believe accusations of racism toward people until I've done a full look at the story and investigation myself, because it's now used to label anyone who says anything that is considered out of line.
That's right. And as Thomas Sowell famously stated, when people get used to preferential treatment, equal treatment seems like discrimination. Oh, just wait until my new book comes out in a few months. Some of the topics are so hot that I can't even hint at them here. But until then, I'm sure you want the greatest t-shirt ever made. My new and improved Wanted for President shirt featuring Donald Trump's authentic actual mugshot. Order yours from my online store at markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.